This advisory documents containment procedures for the anomalous entity designated Earthchild. Though direct vocalization of this designation is strictly prohibited within facility grounds, the entity demonstrates consistent emergence patterns when its colloquial name is spoken aloud in proximity to unprocessed soil surfaces. Initial containment efforts began following incident reports from Research Station Delta 7, where maintenance personnel reported unusual seismic disturbances, coinciding with routine verbal communications. The entity exhibits predictable manifestation behaviors. Emergence begins with subtle soil displacement, typically occurring within 1.2 to 2.8 seconds following vocal articulation of its designation. Progressive revelation follows, with the entity gradually becoming visible through systematic substrate disruption. Duration of surface exposure varies considerably, ranging from 43 seconds to over 4 minutes, depending on environmental conditions and observer proximity. Behavioral analysis indicates intelligence beyond simple reactive responses. During controlled observation trials, the entity demonstrated apparent awareness of human presence, maintaining what researchers describe as non-aggressive posture while exhibiting clear recognition of vocal stimuli. Most significantly, retreat behavior initiates immediately upon cessation of the triggering vocalization, suggesting sophisticated auditory processing capabilities. Environmental containment requires comprehensive barrier implementation. Primary barriers consist of reinforced concrete installations extending minimum 0.3 meters below facility foundation levels. Secondary containment utilizes industrial-grade polymer sheeting, creating sealed boundaries, preventing direct earth contact. Synthetic flooring materials replace all natural surfaces within designated operational zones. Atmospheric isolation systems maintain environmental control, though their effectiveness remains under evaluation. Personnel compliance presents ongoing challenges. Psychological evaluations indicate higher risk factors, including curiosity, protocol violations, and stress-induced accidental vocalizations. 3 documented incidents involved maintenance staff inadvertently speaking the entity's name during routine operations. In each case, immediate soil movement was detected, followed by progressive emergence patterns. Emergency evacuation procedures proved effective, though post-incident psychological support was required for all involved personnel. The most significant breach occurred during what was intended as a controlled observation trial. Research personnel, positioned at what they considered safe distance, deliberately vocalized the entity designation while monitoring seismic detection equipment. Initial soil movement registered 1.7 seconds post-vocalization, consistent with previous observations. However, the entity remained manifested for 2 minutes and 17 seconds, maintaining apparent visual contact with observers throughout the duration. No aggressive behavior was documented, yet the prolonged exposure raised concerns about potential escalation patterns. Theoretical frameworks attempt to explain the manifestation mechanism. The acoustic resonance hypothesis suggests the entity responds to specific vocal frequencies rather than semantic content. Preliminary spectral analysis of triggering vocalizations reveals consistent phonetic patterns across multiple languages, indicating possible frequency-based sensitivity. Alternative theories propose sympathetic dimensional disturbance, where vocalization creates localized reality disruptions, allowing surface access from presumed subterranean habitats. The consciousness interface proposition presents more disturbing implications. Evidence suggests the entity possesses sophisticated linguistic recognition capabilities, distinguishing between intentional designation and incidental phonetic similarities. This level of cognitive processing indicates intelligence, potentially exceeding initial assessments. Further research requires extreme caution given the entity's demonstrated responsiveness to human communication. Current monitoring systems maintain continuous surveillance through multiple detection arrays. Seismic monitoring equipment, calibrated for minimal substrate disturbances, provides primary detection capabilities. Thermal imaging systems track temperature variations associated with emergence patterns. Audio recording systems document all facility communications, enabling compliance, verification, and incident analysis. Alert protocols escalate through 3 defined threat levels, from unusual seismic readings to confirmed visual manifestation. Emergency response procedures prioritize personnel safety through systematic evacuation protocols. Silent alarm systems prevent inadvertent vocal triggers during crisis situations. Radio communication maintains strict terminology restrictions, referring only to subsurface anomaly or coded designation SA7. Emergency sealing procedures deploy rapid hardening compound barriers while atmospheric isolation systems prevent environmental contamination. Documentation protocols require photographic evidence using remote systems, avoiding direct personnel exposure during active manifestation. Periods. Long-term containment effectiveness depends on absolute compliance with communication restrictions. The entity's apparent sensitivity to vocal designation creates persistent vulnerability despite physical barrier systems. Personnel training emphasizes linguistic discipline, though human error remains the primary containment risk factor. Psychological support systems address the stress associated with constant vigilance and communication. Restrictions. Recent observations suggest potential adaptation patterns. The entity's emergence duration has gradually increased over successive incidents, though correlation with environmental factors remains unclear. Temperature and humidity variations show minimal impact on manifestation behavior, while barometric pressure changes correlate with slight timing variations. Soil composition analysis reveals preference for clay-based substrates with organic content, though emergence occurs regardless of geological conditions. Most concerning is evidence of spatial awareness beyond immediate emergence zones. During the extended observation trial, the entity maintained apparent visual tracking of personnel movement, suggesting perception capabilities extending beyond its manifestation radius. This behavior indicates potential threat assessment capabilities, raising questions about defensive or predatory instincts. The entity's non-aggressive posture throughout documented encounters provides limited reassurance. Absence of pursuit behavior or extended interaction attempts may indicate natural behavioral limitations rather than benevolent intent. Containment protocols assume potential threat escalation, particularly given the demonstrated intelligence and environmental manipulation capabilities. Administrative oversight requires level 4 security clearance for document access. Unauthorized distribution constitutes serious security violation subject to immediate disciplinary action. Monthly protocol reviews incorporate ongoing research findings and incident analysis. Personnel acknowledgement of updated procedures is mandatory within 48-hour distribution windows. Contact protocols for emergency situations maintain hierarchical response structure. Primary contact through Department Security Office provides immediate threat assessment. Secondary contact via Research Division Supervisor enables technical consultation. Emergency situations require direct communication with Site Command Center, though all communications must avoid entity designation vocalization. The fundamental challenge remains absolute prevention of vocal triggers while maintaining operational efficiency. The entity's demonstrated consistency in responding to its name creates predictable threat patterns, yet human communication requirements present persistent vulnerability. Current containment success depends entirely on personnel, discipline, and environmental barrier integrity. Continued monitoring and research proceed under extreme caution protocols. The entity's apparent intelligence and environmental manipulation capabilities suggest potential for behavioral evolution or adaptation. Long-term containment viability requires ongoing assessment of both physical barriers and human compliance factors. This advisory serves as primary reference for all personnel assigned to containment duties. Verbal discussion of the entity's actual designation remains strictly prohibited under all circumstances. Violation of this restriction has resulted in immediate manifestation events requiring emergency response protocols. Remember, the name itself is the key, and the Earth is always listening.